What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Pope, aka Alo, aka the Got Damn Truth. You over here on 863 Seminole TV, home of Seminole Nation, the Florida State family, and the 863 tribe. And I got some truth for y'all today. Yesterday, I decided I was taking a day off, man. Because every time you think it can't get any uglier, it gets uglier. It absolutely gets uglier. I don't even know, man. Where do we even start? Like, I guess that's my biggest question is like, where do we start? Where do we even start? So, if you don't know, you should know. Unless you were living under a rock yesterday, because it set the internet on fire. So I actually believe this started Saturday night. Saturday night is where this first kicked off. Desmond Ricks out of IMG by way of Virginia. I think he's the number 2 DB in the 2024 class. Or something like that. He's number 1 and number 2. Like a top 10 player, right? A kid that apparently in April was this close to committing to Florida State. He had been crystal balled and said all the right things, man. Florida State was top team and all these things. He releases the top 10, and guess who's not on it? Yeah. Guess who's not on it? Guess who's not on the top 10? And that, of course, leads to a bunch of questions. Like, what happened? How in, April, May, June, how in 2 or 3 months do you go from almost committing to not even being mentioned at all, right? To take a famous Jay-Z quote, how you go from top 10 to not mentioned at all? Like, it doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. So the next morning, Sunday morning, or I think it was Sunday morning, it's around Sunday afternoon, we get a quote from the young man by way of On3. I forget the name of the guy who dropped the quote. Fawcett or something like that is his name. But anyway, in the quote, it's like a graphic quote, like a graphic with a quote on it. I haven't heard from Florida State in months. Something to that nature. That's not verbatim, but again, unless you've been living under a rock, you already know what I'm addressing. Basically, putting it out there that he hasn't heard from Florida State. They're almost as if they just gave up recruiting him. And then, of course, the firestorm ensues. You have a group of people that are verifying that's absolutely true. Then you have a group of, I'm gonna call them conspiracy theorists, because and this is what caused me to get to quit Twitter yesterday and just take a day off and not even tweet no more about football yesterday, because you have these people. And look, I understand recruiting's a dirty game. I also understand that kids change their mind all the time. And sometimes a kid might say something that's not 100% accurate. And that comes with the territory. But 2 months ago, we made a big deal about Dante Moore and whether or not FSU should be actively recruiting him. And a lot of us, and I was one of them, I drank a little bit of the Kool-Aid. I was like, well, you got Chris Parson. You don't want to maybe alienate Chris Parson. So you want Chris Parson to feel like he's here and he's wanted and he's wanted to be the number one guy. Because Dante Moore echoed some very similar sentiments. Hey, these guys don't talk to me. I'm interested in Florida State, but for whatever reason, they don't reach out. They don't talk to me. Fast forward, here we are. Ricks is saying the same thing. Oh, but wait. Ricks isn't the only one saying this. Dante Moore isn't the only one saying this. There's a handful, if not more, of 2023 kids, of 2024 kids that are echoing the same sentiment. Like Florida State was on me, and for whatever reason, they quit. For whatever reason, I just simply stopped hearing from them. So, of course, again, that goes back to the conspiracy theorists. And, well, you know what? You know, they got to pick and choose their battles. They got to put resources in the right direction. If the number 2 corner in the nation isn't a direction you put your resources in, then I don't know what is. Okay? I heard people say, oh, the reason they didn't close on Avery Stewart was kind of because they got to allocate resources in the proper direction, and Stewart wasn't that high of a priority. Well, damn it, if Desmond Ricks isn't, then who is? If your number 2 guy isn't in the nation, isn't good enough to allocate resources to, who is? So, again, we got conspiracy theorists about, well, the Fawcett dude paid for that quote, and it's a lie. But I'm going to tell you right now, at the end of the day, I don't know anybody. Just light-skinned dude on YouTube, like I always say. So I don't know anybody. I don't have any inside sources. But if this was a one-off, if this was a Dante Moore situation, like at the time when I was like, you know what, I hear you. They should be recruiting him if they have a chance to recruit him. But also, I understand why they wouldn't go all in on a Dante Moore. Maybe they feel like Dante Moore isn't really interested and just wants to take the trips and be, you know, whatever. Plus, you already have a quarterback committed who you feel pretty good about, assuming. So if this was a one-off situation there, maybe I'd agree with you. Maybe I'd sit back and say, yeah, Ricks, unfortunately, isn't that. Again, I don't know these kids, but from what I was able to gather, not only was Ricks actually all in, or very interested in Florida State, he grew up a fan of Florida State. I've been hearing this too often for the last couple years, man, about, oh, I grew up, FSU is my favorite team, whether that's Collier Jr. Too many times have I heard, oh, I grew up a Florida State fan. I grew up all of this. We seem to be the only school in the country that whenever it's a legacy prospect or a kid that it's his dream school, whether it's a Jaleel Skinner, you name it. If I hear a kid say that Florida State's their dream school, I'm just going to already automatically count them out of the pro. They're not going to commit because for whatever reason, we can't land those kids that we should have a leg up on for whatever reason. We can't land those. We can't land kids that even want to be here, let alone try to convince somebody to go elsewhere. So that's where we're at, man. And I was just so done with it yesterday that I kind of just, I logged off, and I didn't want to be a part of any football conversations on Twitter yesterday because it's not the conversations. To be honest with you, I can talk about this crap all day. It's not the conversations that I have a problem with. It's a lot of y'all, man. It's a lot of y'all that excuse everything. Make excuses for everything. I don't know how much more evidence we need. Oh, don't worry about it. It's only July. The same people that saying it's only July, y'all were barking up a different tree last year when at this time last year we were number 10 in the recruiting and all signs were pointing positive that this staff and this team was doing a great job on the trail getting guys to buy in. y'all were singing a completely different tune last year. But because it's the other way around, now it's only July. See, I can't get on board with some of y'all, because again, this is like a revolving door. Y'all just change as it opens. Y'all just, oh, well, we're doing good. Yeah, let's talk about it. We're doing bad, or let's make excuses about it. And I don't really, buy into any of that. If you don't think recruiting in July matters, then all these kids wouldn't be committing it in July. Everybody's saying, well, it's only July and this and that. If that was the case, none of these kids would be committing in July. And FSU is a perfect example. Out of all the kids that committed at this time, around this time last year, how many did decommit? Our entire recruiting class pretty much finished with the guys that we had committed around this time last year. The only guys they picked up late was AZ. And if you want to count Anderson, who counts as a walk-on, I guess you can count him. Everybody else committed around this time last year and stayed firm, with the exception of, who am I missing? Oh, that's right, Travis Hunter and Ba. We ended up losing Ba to Georgia. Those are only two. Oh, and Travion Williams, who he ended up losing to, we went to one of the Mississippi schools. So 3 kids he ended up losing out on. The rest of that class flat out committed this time and stayed committed despite a 5-win season. So don't tell me that recruiting in July doesn't matter, because the evidence clearly points the opposite way. That recruiting at this time absolutely matters. This is where you get your feet in, get your hands dug in to the core of your class. And right now, I don't know what the core is. Now, the good news is we got an offensive lineman who's supposed to announce his commitment today. Anytime Atkins is involved with an O-lineman, I feel pretty good going into that. But this, we can talk about, if he commits, I might do another video today. Might even go live to talk about that. But outside of O-line and D-line, if you're not concerned about what this head coach, and his staff are putting together, I don't know, man. I don't really know how to explain it. I don't know I'm not going to defend it. But I at least would try to have some type of explanation as to why exactly we continue to look like a bunch of fools. Because that's what we continue to look like. You can say what you want, but the logo's taking too many hits. That Travis Hunter debacle, you can say, oh, well, it was Dion, but the logo got embarrassed on national TV. Travis Hunter probably actually does us a better service, logo-wise, if he just flat out had decommitted a month earlier. Just decommitted. And then at the final ceremony, had a Georgia hat up there and maybe another hat, and just did what he did. But to keep us on that hook that entire time, it was a bad look at the end of it. A Marius Smith situation, not as big as Hunter. But again, guy hits the portal. You get him on campus. He goes home. He decides to stay at Georgia. Say what you want. You can talk about everything that happened behind the scenes, and this happened, and it was out of our control, and this, the optics don't matter. These 15, 16, 17-year-olds don't care about what happened behind the scenes. All they see is Travis Hunter on National Signing Day throwing an FSU hat. All they see is a Marius Mims hit the portal. FSU was in the lead, and then all of a sudden he decides to stay at Georgia. All they see is Desmond Ricks. At one point, Florida State's the favorite. Now they're not even in the top 10. That's what is being seen here. So you can try to spin it how you want. You can say, oh, games just got to be played. That's the other crap that I can't. I'm tired of hearing that crap as well. Oh, man, we just got to play games. What in the first 2 years have made you think that all of a sudden Florida State's going to double their win total? Because that's what it's going to have to take. I'm sorry, guys. If you think a 7-win season does anything on the recruiting trail, you're misinformed. You are misinformed. If you think a 7-win season and a trip to the Sun Bowl does anything for recruiting, a lot of you guys that's saying that, y'all even have college degrees. I'm starting to question how y'all graduated college, but actually, there's a lot of smart dummies out there. Hold on, let me go through the gate. Good morning.
One second, sorry, I'm going to move the cone out.
Alrighty. Now, where was I? Oh yeah, a lot of you smart dummies out here y'all just say things that have no bearing to it. Like no actual, it's just a hope and a pipe dream that 7 wins does absolutely nothing, especially for the 2023 class. Oh, this class right here is on life support. This class is on life support, and I'm going to tell you right now, the only thing that saves this class, the only thing that saves the 2023 class is you have to double your win total. Quite frankly, you need to make an ACC championship appearance. Y'all think I'm just saying stuff. Y'all think I'm saying stuff to be, hard on Mike, or I'm unrealistic expectations because of some nostalgia feeling of what Florida State used to be. No. I live in this world called reality, and I understand what I see on the recruiting trail on a day-to-day basis, on a year-to-year basis. Seven wins, six wins. Oh my God, 7, 6, 8. 8 is the floor, and again, if you win 8 wins, I think that helps you for the 2024 class a little bit more, that you have the potential to build off of an 8-win season. But again, your 2023 class is on life support. 8 wins does nothing for 2023. I'm just telling you. The only way you really are going to get any of these kids' attention is you have to go out there and you have to do extraordinary accomplishments. You have to do something that's not being expected. It's not out of the realm of possibility. I actually look at this team and I tell y'all all the time. Last year, they were a 7-win team. At worst, a 6-win team. And they threw that crap away. Had to argue about that on Twitter too. Our roster was so bad, apparently. We had a G5 roster last year, did we? We had a G5 roster, but we played 4 quarters with Notre Dame, Clemson, Florida, beat North Carolina. We didn't have a G5 roster when we beat North Carolina, beat Miami, and quite frankly, probably could have won a couple of those games that I said we played 4 quarters in if we just had a little bit better, coaching. So this is where this ultimately is what this all boils down to. I kind of ran it on this video about a lot of different things because it's ultimately this all boils down to the recruiting of this, right? Like that's what we're talking about, man. We're talking about recruiting, and we're talking about the only way to turn this thing around is to get better players. So obviously this season means a lot, right? All you can do is sit back and wait for this season to unfold and hope that you are looking at a team that's actually, going to win its fair share of football games this year. But the bigger concern to me is that we can win all the games we want. It still says something about the fact that your recruiting boards are absolutely ass backwards. I'm trying to be as politely, say things as polite as I can. But your recruiting boards are backwards. They are effed up. I don't understand them. I don't understand the strategy. And it almost looks like, and I'll end on this, recruiting almost looks like they are scared to recruit certain players because they don't feel like they can compete. Now, I'm not going to say this too many. Oh, man, the sun's in here. Hold on. I'm glaring. Better? No. Yeah. Well, sun's just going to be trying to... Oh, okay, well. Stupid sun. But anyway, I'm not going to say this too much because I don't want to use a quote from old Billy. But Billy says scared money don't make money. I can't criticize Napier because Napier out-recruiting Mike. In year 3, Mike Norvell has no traction in this state. It almost seems like any prospect that's that he feels like he has to compete against, he kind of just lets them go. I don't understand that, and I don't get why we playing with scared money. What are you worried about? That you're not going to land some of these kids? Oh, well, they should allocate their resources to guys that they know they're not getting. Man, what's the saying? The worst shot you can take is the one you don't take, or something to that nature. You can't miss the shots that you know. If you're not even taking the shot, bro, I can't defend it. I'm not saying go all in, but you got to touch base. You got to feel it. And a guy like Desmond Ricks, I know he's a 2024 kid, and anything can happen in a year. But I'm telling you, none of these are good looks. And you just continue to embarrass yourself and your brand, in my opinion, the more stories like this continue to come out about Florida State recruiting. So, again, we got to stop blaming Ron Dugans because, y'all pick, and we kind of pick the coaches that we kind of want to throw under the bus. The head coach sets the tone, man. If you got a dog as a head coach, your position coaches, your coordinators, they'll be dogs. I don't think we have that. I told y'all after the Mims thing, I thought Mike is not the coach for the future. Every day I continue to be proven right that he's not the coach for the future. And the only thing that saves his case is going to be what he could potentially do on the football field. And after the first 2 seasons, I don't know if I have any reason to believe that all of a sudden he's going to go from 5 to 10 wins and make a run at the ACC. Because in my opinion, that's what it needs to take. In year 3, you should be competing for the ACC, not talking about 7 wins. Like, y'all can miss me with that. If that's your standard, that's your standard. But last time I checked, when we fired a head coach for not meeting the standard, that was the quote. 6-6 wasn't the standard. But somehow 7-5, excuse me. Hell, you could finish 7-6 with the bowl game. 7-5, 7-6, for whatever reason, that's okay. That's going to fix recruiting. I mean, anyway, that was my little rant for this morning to address kind of everything that happened yesterday. We'll see what happens with this young man that's committing today, Lucas Simmons, offensive tackle out of Clearwater, I believe. He's like a top 100 offensive lineman or top 100 player, or right outside the top 100. So, obviously, you got Atkins on that. And when you have Atkins on it, we all feel pretty confident. It's sad that he's the only guy we got. It's almost like, man, at what point do you try to push Atkins into some of these other positions and try to, but then you're spreading him too thin, right? So, anyway, that's that. I'll holler at you guys later, man. As always, it's your boy Polk over here on 863 Seminole TV. Stay classy, Seminoles. I don't know what else to say. Stay classy, guys. Eventually, we'll get out of this the sunken place. Eventually, someone will figure something out and we'll get out the sunken place. But until then, keep your head up, go Noles, and I'm out here, man.